There's a charm in the creak of old floorboards, in weathered beams that tell a story, and in sunlight that falls like honey across a worn farmhouse table. But what happens when we pair these pastoral elements with velvet, brass, and curated elegance? Welcome to the Velvet Haystack, a world where rustic roots are wrapped in luxe refinement. Every farmhouse look begins with authenticity, reclaimed wood, stone walls, iron fixtures. These elements form the skeleton of the space, anchoring it in rural tradition. It's essential to honor these textures before layering on luxury, because the true magic happens when rustic is respected, not replaced. Velvet isn't just for city penthouses or boutique hotels. In farmhouse design, velvet adds softness to the sturdy. A deep green velvet armchair nestled beside a stone fireplace doesn't feel out of place, it feels like a warm embrace in a room built for storytelling and comfort. Rustic palettes lean neutral, ivory, sand, slate. But adding luxe means introducing depth. Jewel tones like sapphire, emerald, and burgundy anchor the space and add unexpected drama. These shades, in small doses, make everything feel more intentional, more elevated. Imagine a hand-hammered brass pendant hanging above a weathered wood island. That contrast is key. Luxe farmhouse style lives in these juxtapositions. Cold metals meet warm woods, softness meets structure, refinement meets ruggedness. It's about finding the tension and leaning into it. In rustic luxe spaces, lighting does more than illuminate, it sets the tone. A crystal chandelier in a barn-style room can feel extravagant yet grounded when paired with linen shades and antique bulbs. Sconces, pendants, and floor lamps layer light to create moody, cinematic warmth. Layered textiles are non-negotiable. Think heavy linen drapes, a sheepskin throw, hand-woven rugs, and velvet cushions. These tactile experiences elevate the comfort factor and invite guests to linger longer. The goal is a space that feels both indulgent and down-to-earth. Rustic luxury celebrates the beauty of imperfection. A ceramic bowl with a lopsided lip. A vintage mirror with foxed glass. These pieces tell a story. Mixing in statement art or sleek sculptures enhances this charm, without losing the soul of the space. Your sofa is a centerpiece. A velvet Chesterfield or a plush sectional in a bold hue can command attention while still inviting you to curl up with a book. Pair it with rustic coffee tables and linen pillows to balance the old with the opulent. Sliding barn doors are a farmhouse staple, but paint them navy, add brass hardware, or upholster them in leather, and suddenly they're art. Luxe Farmhouse design finds ways to rethink the expected and make utilitarian details memorable. The farmhouse kitchen gets a glow-up with marble countertops, brass pot fillers, and velvet bar stools. Keep the soul intact with open shelving, handmade pottery, and rustic wood accents. It's not about starting over, it's about upgrading the essentials with flair. pantries can't be luxurious? Think again. Glass canisters with brass lids, woven baskets with leather tags, and a vintage ladder for high shelves transform a practical space into a jewel box of good taste. It's the little touches that whisper luxury. Long farmhouse tables deserve more than mason jars and checkered cloths. Think velvet slip-covered chairs, linen runners, and gold flatware. Add taper candles and vintage glassware, and suddenly your Sunday roast feels like a five-star experience. Luxe farmhouse bedrooms strike a balance, wooden canopy beds dressed in Belgian linen, velvet bolsters, and antique rugs underfoot. Add a chandelier or a tufted bench at the foot of the bed, and it's no longer just a room, it's a retreat. A clawfoot tub beneath a wood-beamed ceiling. Marble counters with farmhouse sinks. Velvet ottomans and brass sconces. This is where rustic luxury thrives, in the private moments of pampering, where raw materials meet refined rituals. Don't shy from mixing copper, iron, brass, and nickel. Layered metallics catch the light in different ways, adding depth and sophistication to rustic backdrops. The key is moderation. Let one finish dominate while others complement. Glossy lacquered console with a hand-hewn beam above it creates dynamic tension. The charm of rustic luxury lies in this conversation between old and new, matte and shine, rough and refined. Let them speak in every corner. Incorporate heirloom pieces, but style them with intention. A distressed armoire beside a velvet stool or a barn-found bench dressed with alpaca throws brings balance. The past feels current when it's placed with purpose. Rustic homes smell of earth and wood. Add a layer of refinement with soy candles in scents like sandalwood, leather, or figure. Diffusers in amber bottles or incense in handmade holders add sensory elegance to the visual feast. A vintage console topped with a marble dish, a velvet bench, and a gilded mirror says it all. You're entering a space where rustic roots have grown into refined branches. This vignette sets the tone for everything that follows. Heavy linen or velvet drapes, ideally floor length, transform windows into frames. Whether drawn open to pastoral views or closed for a cozy evening, they elevate the space, adding a sense of height, softness, and luxury. The fireplace is the heart of the farmhouse, but luxury demands detail. Marble or soapstone surrounds, antique mantels, and velvet armchairs nearby elevate the experience from rustic comfort to romantic indulgence. Shiplap is classic, but consider lime wash or matte jewel tone paint. Add wall sconces, shadow boxes, or even a gallery wall with ornate frames. Each wall becomes an opportunity for quiet sophistication layered over rustic foundations. Exposed beams painted white or stained dark create visual rhythm. Consider coffered details, ceiling medallions, or dramatic pendant lighting. When done right, even the ceiling becomes part of the design dialogue. Farmhouse function meets designer delight in a laundry space with marble folding counters, velvet cushioned stools, and brass fixtures. Add art and scent diffusers and turn utility into an unexpected oasis. Branches in ceramic vessels, dried grasses in brass pots, or a velvet pillow embroidered with flora Bringing nature indoors honors the farmhouse spirit while elevating it with deliberate design. Luxe doesn't have to be synthetic, it can be wild and beautiful. Rustic luxe extends to porches and patios with cast iron lanterns, velvet outdoor cushions, and reclaimed wood tables set for sunset dinners. Add vintage glassware and candles, and even the outdoors becomes a curated continuation of indoor grace. Create soft reading nooks with velvet chairs, linen throws, and antique books. These quiet corners bring soul to the space, pockets of personal luxury where time slows and beauty gathers in stillness. Rustic Farmhouse Living honors sustainability, and so should its luxe counterpart. Choose natural fibers, reclaimed woods, and artisanal pieces. When luxury is mindful, it feels richer, deeper, rooted in values as well as aesthetics. There's a special kind of beauty that blooms when velvet meets hay, when softness and sophistication are layered atop honest, hardworking design. The Velvet Haystack isn't just a look, it's a lifestyle. It's where elegance doesn't erase authenticity, it enhances it. Luxe Farmhouse Living is about feeling grounded and glamorous, all at once.